Good evening and welcome to my first YouTube channel. I am Graeme, as I'm probably sure you know by now, and this is a YouTube channel dedicated to the club that I love, well, maybe not like at the moment, Heart of Northern Football Club. After an embarrassing 1-0 defeat to Kilmarnock yesterday against 10 men for 85 minutes. I'm embarrassed by that yesterday. I put in the tagline there, one is for Hearts after defeat to Kilmarnock. Is that the worst performance of the season? Who's to blame, and could we really be relegated? So let me know what your thoughts are in the chat. Already a comment in. Good evening to Aviation. Hope you're well, mate. So, I set this channel up basically to talk about Hearts, the club that I love, as I've said previously. And in the back of yesterday, I thought it was good to get this out there now, because I've done a few things on TikTok, but I thought, let's put something out here on YouTube as well, because yesterday was embarrassing. I think throughout this season, there's been poor performances over the course of the season, but that is the worst one yet. To have 85 minutes against 10 men and create nothing. We had 4 shots on target in the whole game, was poor. The Kilmarnock goalkeepers having nothing to do. Robin McCurry in the first half, nothing to do. They then bring on Kieran O'Hara in the second half, and he has nothing to do either. It was awful. Performance level was really poor yesterday. Neil Critchley came out after the game, and I agree with his comments, where he said that it was really, really poor. It was pretty much embarrassing, really. And he was thankful to the fans for going there, but it was awful. That was just absolutely dreadful what I watched yesterday, as we all did. And I think there's a lot of players I've got to take blame yesterday. There was no creativity, there was no spark, there was no desire, there was no energy, and you can't blame European football. And to be fair, Critchell said the same thing as well. You can't blame Europe. When you're playing against a team that's got 10 men for 85 minutes, you cannot blame European football for that. It was just a terrible performance. Now, over the course of the season, I'm going to talk about the season as a whole, because when the season started and we looked at the signings that we made, I was quite happy. And I think most Hearts fans were. Bringing in Blair Spittle and Jan Dander, 2 players who were very, very impressive from Motherwell and Ross County. You're bringing in James Penrith, a really reliable left-back. I was happy with that. I think we played some really, really good signings there. And I know folk have said, but we're bringing in players from Motherwell and Ross County. But I was genuinely happy with that, because Jan Dander was a really good player for Ross County. He was creative. He had quality. Nobody really complained when he came in. The one for me was Blair Spittle. That was the surprising one, because it was unexpected. Jan Dander we knew about. We knew he was coming in. But Blair Spittle we had no idea about. I was delighted when we signed him, because, like I say, he's creative. He gets forward. I think he has 16 goals and 11 assists from Motherwell. Someone that I thought was a really good signing. And now you're bringing in guys like Oyegoke, you're bringing in Salazar, you're bringing in Gerald Taylor. We know what Gerald Taylor did in his first game, and he's been injured since. But the signings were pretty decent. You're bringing in Musa, who was signed as a project signing. But I was quite happy with the signings. I looked at the squad and think, that's a pretty good squad. We could easily get top 3 again, even playing European football. And the season started okay. We got the draw against Rangers in the first game of the season, and I thought we played quite well. And you're thinking, yeah, a lot of positives here. This could be a good season. And then it just fell spectacularly. We got hammered by Dundee 3-1 at Dens Park. We were knocked out the League Cup by Falkirk. We went 8 straight defeats in a row in League and Cup and Europe. And you're just thinking, what is going on here? It was pathetic. And some performances you thought, okay, do you know what? It wasn't that bad, but we still lost. And then the St Mirren game, the one where Stephen Naismith got sacked. That was the one where I was sitting here watching the game. When we go 2-1 down at half-time, you're thinking, right, we've got 45 minutes here. Stephen Naismith has got 45 minutes to save his job. And Andrew McKinnon actually came out and said the same thing. And we didn't. The performance was awful. You're coming out second half and you're thinking, your manager's under pressure here. What have you got? What are you going to do? And they did nothing. And we crumbled to a 2-1 defeat. And then, obviously, Naismith was sacked the very next day. But I still believe we could get out of this mess. I still believe we could get top 6, maybe even finish 3rd. It wasn't that far away. Then there was a lot of speculation about who the manager would be. There was talk about Neil Critchley. There was also talk about, I can't remember the guy's name either. Critchley gets the job. And I'll admit, I wasn't overly keen. Nothing against the guy, but I just thought, surely the analytics could get better than that. But I thought he needs time. You've got to give him time. It's not his players. And I actually thought he started very well. Beat St Mirren 4-0, played really well. And I thought there were, over the course of the 13 games he's had, I think there has been positives. I think we played well in a lot of games, but we've not had the results. I've seen a few folk yesterday saying that Critchley's not the right man. I would disagree. It's not his squad. And I generally think there's been improvements. I think performance level has definitely gone up in a lot of games, but we've not had a lot of luck. I generally think there's been positives to take from this season under Critchley since he's come in. Look at the European games. Heidenheim and Omonia. I thought we were brilliant both those games. I thought we played some cracking football. Should have won those games by more. We should have beat Heidenheim. That was the game that really frustrated me because we should have been 3 or 4 up by half time. We didn't take our chances, none more so than Lawrence Shankland. But performances were a lot better. I thought we were looking far more structured. I thought we had more of a game plan and more of an identity that we didn't have under Stephen Naismith. And I thought, things are really positive. I generally think, and I've actually said this on TikTok as well, I generally thought we could still finish top 6. Now, Andrew McKinley came out in the AGM and he said the same thing. And he got laughed at. But I kind of agreed with the sentiment because that's a squad that should get top 6. And we weren't really that far off it. But that performance yesterday was a massive, massive surprise because I did not see that coming. There's been games that I've thought we've not got the result we played well. Yesterday was not that. That was one of the worst performances of the season. It was disgraceful. It was embarrassing. It was humiliating. When Kilmarnock go down to 10 men for Robbie D's challenge on Kenny Vargas, 6 minutes on the clock, you're thinking we've got plenty time here. And I'm actually sitting there thinking to myself, the worst thing that could happen is Kilmarnock score first. Because if that happens, they're just going to sit back and defend. And lo and behold, James Penrose, who I think has been excellent this season, gives away a penalty for a high foot, always going to get given. We give away the penalty, and then Kilmarnock do exactly what I thought they would do. But having said that, they actually had chances to extend their lead, which should not happen against 10 men. We were hopeless. We were absolutely toothless. We did nothing on the ball. I'm expecting a reaction in that game when we're a man down. Going into that game, we knew that we were bottom of the league, and if we win, we go 8th. What kind of reaction is that yesterday? To go 1-0 down against 10 men and not react? The first half was brutal. To be fair, we had a chance in the first minute. Craig Halkett with an effort off the bar after a really good ball in by Billy Spittle. And then after that, we did nothing. We created nothing. We go in at half-time 1-0 down, and you're thinking, right, 45 minutes here, 45 minutes plus stoppage time to turn this round against 10 men. Surely we will see something. And there was nothing again. There was no reaction. I was thinking Hearts will come out second half and they will bombard Kilmarnock. We will absolutely hammer them here. Nothing. It was ponderous. It was side to side. It was slow. It was just nothing. Critchley made numerous changes. And I said this on X yesterday. When you're bringing on guys like Liam Boyce and George Grant to try and get you back in the game, you're struggling. James Wilson came on. He didn't really get a lot of the ball. Jan Dandy came on. He tried to create something. There was one moment in the first half, in the second half actually. He played a really good ball. James Penrose into the box. Penrose has a shot and it was saved. But that was it. That was the only moment of real quality we had during the game. And we never looked at any point like we were going to break them down. Kilmarnock were happy to do what they did. Sit back, soak up pressure, not that there was much, and take a 1-0 win. We were so devoid of ideas. We were so devoid of any kind of spark. And again, for all the stick he's had, you take Lawrence Shankland out of that team, we have nothing up front. We are so toothless. I thought Mutha was poor, but it wasn't just him. Alan Forrest was awful. Kenny Vargas was terrible. You could look at the whole team and say there wasn't one positive spark. Now, you can look at Craig Gordon and say he did nothing wrong, but it's a collective. It's a team performance. So everybody takes the blame from me after yesterday. And it was brutal. Those fans travelling to that game yesterday, not a very nice day, Sunday afternoon. And to go and watch that is probably the worst I've seen this season. And that's the most embarrassed I've been all season. Like I said, I've seen poor performances this season. I've seen it over the course of the season's poor performances. But nothing like that. 84 minutes against 10 men. And we create nothing against them. I mean, that was a Kilmarnock masterclass what they did yesterday. Sit back and defend a 1-0 win. That was always going to happen. And we had no idea how to break them down. And I was generally ashamed of them yesterday. And it's the first time I've said that this season. I was generally embarrassed and humiliated by that yesterday. It was awful. We are now a point behind St Johnstone at the bottom of the league. And when you say it out loud, it sounds horrific. We should not be in this position again. 1920 season, when we got relegated, or people will say demoted, I didn't think we could go there again. And here we are again, 2024, December, and we've won 3 league games out of 17. That is ridiculous. It's crazy. Now, there's a lot of folk can take the blame here, but the players have got to take a look at themselves. Do they want this? Do they want to stay up? Do they care? Because it doesn't look like that yesterday. Too many players in that team yesterday look like going through the motions. They offered nothing. I said it yesterday. If I'm a player in that dressing room, if I'm a manager there, I'm tearing strips off them in that dressing room at half time. I'm going fighting folk after that, because that was awful. To turn in a performance like that, in a game like that, where you have to win, and you can go 8th, and you show nothing, I think that is horrendous. And generally, I worry where we're going to go now. I genuinely worry where we're going to go. We've now got Petrol Cup on Thursday in Europe. Now, that's a game we should win. You know, this side are the 5th seeds in the group. They're a part-time club. We should be winning this game. But right now, I couldn't guarantee we're going to win it, because we are so poor. We're devoid of ideas. We're devoid of a spark. We're lacking real quality. The thing is, everyone's looking forward to January. Everyone's thinking, come January, we'll sort it out. It'll be fine. I don't think it will, because I generally don't see us signing any more than 3 players. I think we'll sign 2 centre-backs, which needed to happen because Stephen Kingsley and Kent are out. And I think we'll sign a striker. And that'll be it. That's not enough. We need at least 2 wide players with pace. We do not have a wide player that takes people on and that's got pace to go by a man. We are so slow, it is incredible. You're playing Kenny Vargas and Alan Forrest because you've got no options. They don't beat anyone. If I'm a defender against one of those 2, I'm ecstatic thinking, I'll take this all day. They're not going to beat me for pace or take me on. We need a spark in January, but I don't think it'll happen. I really don't. Then we've got 2 home league games against St Johnstone and against Hibs. Now, our home record is normally pretty good. This season it's not been. Our 3 wins this season, 2 have come at home. Dundee, St Mirren. And our other win was St Johnstone, ironically. But you look at that St Johnstone side, and they've improved. I know that doesn't look like that because they are second bottom, but they have improved under Valakari. They've got Mackenzie Kirk scoring goals. They've got Kim Pioka. They've got Sidibe. They've got something we don't have, which is pace up front. We don't have that. This is a really tough game on Sunday against St Johnstone. And I will also caveat that by saying that we have not won a league game after Europe this season. So that's another worry. I am genuinely concerned where the season could go. I've been asked numerous times, do I think we'll get relegated? I can't really say no the way we're playing just now, because we look garbage right now. And then the Derby game, I mean, Hibs are not particularly great either, but it's a Derby game. You know, anything can happen in these Derby games. Things can change very quickly. But where do we go from here? You know, who's to blame? Is it the board? Is it the players? Is it a collective? I think it's a collective. I think everybody needs to look at themselves and say, could I do more? Can I offer more? I think the answer to that is yes, they can. Now, Lawrence Shanklin's been off form this season. We all know that. He's now got 3 goals this season. I think in some games he's actually been a bit unlucky. He's had a couple of really big chances, just not taking them. Other games, I think he's actually been... His overall game's been fine. I think his work rate's been good. He's just not taking his chances. But after that Dundee game, you're thinking, right, let's hope he can hit form now. And then he's obviously suspended for yesterday, which is a big blow, because Liam Boyce is done. George Grant is done. Barry Mackay wasn't on the bench yesterday. He's done. There are players that we need to get off the wage bill. And there's quite a few of them that I would quite happily say cheerio in January and don't let Hidor hit your way out, because they're not good enough. I think come the summer, there need to be a rebuild. But what division am I going to be in? Because there's no point doing that for the Championship, is there? I'm a worry as well. We've got a Scottish Cup game against Brecon, a Highland League side. Remember Brora Rangers? My worry is that could happen again. If I'm Brecon, I'm watching this thinking, this is class. They're crap. We could beat them. And they genuinely could right now, because we are terrible. But we have to focus at the moment on Petrol Cup. That is a game that we have to be winning. A Moldovan side, we have to win that game. But I'm concerned. I can't say I'm not concerned. I don't want to lay the blame at Critchley because I don't think it's his fault. It's not his squad, and I do believe he has done well since he's come in. I know the results haven't been looking like that, but I think there's been definite levels of performance. Yesterday's the worst it's been. And I liked his after-match interview. I liked how honest he was, because I've heard so many managers trying to sugarcoat things, and he could have said, we played in European football, it's one of these games, blah, 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 but he didn't. He was raging with yesterday, as we all were. You can't sugarcoat that. To lose against Kilmarnock, listen, it can happen. Of course it can. But when you've got 11 men against 10 for 84 minutes and you have 4 shots on target, you can't sugarcoat that. So I'm really pleased that Critch has come out and was raging yesterday. He also said that when he left the changing room, the players were having a frank discussion with each other. They need a lot more than that. Actions speak louder than words. We need to see a reaction on Thursday and in these next few league games coming up. If we don't see anything, then there's got to be serious questions asked. I see people are blaming the board, and I do get it, but they did back Stephen Naismith in the summer. And I don't think many folk complained about the transfer window. The only thing that I think most folk said, and I said the same thing myself, we need another striker. I'm not saying Tagawa was the answer, but we let him go and didn't have any option. Stephen Naismith was happy to have Wilson, Vargas, and Boyce and Musa as our signings. That wasn't enough. Musa was a project. Vargas has been really, really poor. And Liam Boyce is finished at this level. That wasn't enough. So, yeah, there was question marks over that. And I think as well, the Kenny Vargas situations are another one that is really frustrating because 9 goals last season in his first season isn't bad. This season, he's not started very well. But then he misses big, big chances at Pataudry when he should score when he's clean through. He missed chances against Falkirk, not to the cup. He missed that big, big chance against Rangers at Ibrox because he takes a really poor first touch. And then he goes away with international duty and he comes out with comments that he made about wanting to play at a higher level and test himself against better players. I'm sorry. I get he's 22. I get he will learn lessons. But you'd be saying that if you can't take chances in this Premier League. And the last few games, he has looked miles off it. He offered nothing. Now, against Copenhagen, we were poor. We didn't keep the ball. We didn't do enough. But at least in the first half, Lawrence Shanklin was trying to hold the ball up. He was fighting with defenders. Vargas and Forrest offered nothing. Yet they started again yesterday because we had no other options. And that's a big, big quandary that Critchell has got. I think now, if he didn't already, 13 games in, he will know the players that he can trust and the players that he can't. And I think there has to be a massive overhaul. But it won't happen in January. I think anybody thinking that January is going to be a big month, it won't be. Because we won't get rid of half those players. And I don't think we'll bring a lot of players in. And I think we need to. I still believe that we can get out of this, which is going to sound ridiculous, but we're not that far off. Again, it sounds crazy to say that. But we're not that far off, which is why I'm so disappointed with yesterday. If we won that game yesterday, we go 8th with 2 home games to come, and we perform like that. It was so embarrassing to watch. The lack of a reaction, the lack of anyone taking leadership. And that's another problem. Where's the leadership in that dressing room? On that pitch yesterday? Where's the person yesterday on that park taking control and saying, right, I'm going to get us through this game. I'm going to win us this game. There was nothing. The only one who really tried to do anything was Jan Dander. But even then, nothing really happened. He had that one pass to Penrith, had an effort off the bar later on. He was only willing to take the ball and do anything. Oyegoke, Jesus, honestly, he offered nothing as a right back yesterday. Aviation, our main aim at this rate is just to stay up there and rebuild in the summer, which is really embarrassing to say, but you've got a point. For us to be sitting here, I said it earlier in the video, 2019-20, when we were relegated, stroke demoted, I did not think we'd be in this position again. And yet here we are again. 2024, back in exactly the same position again. Shouldn't happen. Hearts should not be in this position. Now, I know that it can happen to anybody. Apart from Celtic and Rangers, they don't tend to get relegated, of course. But anyone else, if you have a poor season, it can happen. But for this to happen again after what happened in 2019-20 is embarrassing. And the worst thing is, and I keep going back to this and I keep on stating this squad is a decent squad. Or I thought it was. but they're not showing it. 3 league wins all season is pathetic. I still believe we can qualify for the playoff for Europe, because I think we should be beating Petrol Club. If we don't beat them, close the fucking doors. If we can't beat them, because seriously, that's embarrassing. But I've seen it happen before. Barcacara, the Maltese club, I've seen it happen before with Hearts when we can't beat these kind of clubs. But we have to show reaction on Thursday. I'm going to the game on Thursday with my laddie. I'm expecting Hearts to come out, flying out the traps and making a statement and really going after them and pressing them from the front, getting in their faces and making it difficult and winning that game comfortably. If I don't see that, I'll be fuming. And then we're going to Sunday against St Johnstone, our last game before Christmas. Again, this sounds so stupid to say this, but we go above them and put them bottom if we win. It sounds really, really crazy to say that we're talking about finishing above someone to stay up. I mean, that is the position we find ourselves in. And I find it very difficult to be too harsh on Critchley because it's not his squad. And I keep on saying the fact that I do believe there has been improvement under him. I've seen a few folks saying we've not improved, no players improved. I think performances have improved. I've seen a lot better. I've seen a lot more identity and a lot more desire. But I didn't see that yesterday. What I saw yesterday was going back to earlier in the season, where there was no fight, there was no energy, there was no spark. Absolutely nothing. That's twice now that we've lost to Kilmarnock this season. And they've deserved to win both games. So there's 6 points that we've thrown down the drain. It's ridiculous the position we're in. Now, you can look at the board, and I think there was a stat earlier that our wage bill is 16.5 million. Get that through your head. Our wage bill is 16.5 million. And we are sitting at the bottom of the Premiership, behind Ross County and St Johnstone. That will never be okay. And we have got to get out of this. It is humiliating. It is embarrassing. It's disgraceful that we're in this position again. And as I sit here right now, I can't guarantee that we'll stay up, because I don't see any signs of that. I don't see any sign that this team is capable of going on a run. Now, you look at last season. I don't think we were great for a long spell last season, but what we did have was a striker scoring goals. We don't have that this season. But we lost at Pittodrie. I think we lost 3-2 at Pittodrie. And then after that, I looked at the fixtures and thought, Jesus Christ, we had Celtic, St Mirren, Hibs in that run. And I thought we'd be lucky to get 3 points. What happened? We went 12 games unbeaten. Went to Celtic Park, won 2-0. And then just 1-1-1-1-1. I don't see this team going to run like that. We can't even get 2 games in a row winning. I don't see where we're going to run here. So, yeah, it's a massive, massive worry. I just don't see us going on a run. Now, it could happen. It just takes one result to spark it. Of course it could. But I don't see it happening with a squad. They don't look capable of going on a run. And that's not worry. Where do we go from here? Apart from down the way. So it was a massive worry. I mean, the board have got to take responsibility. You know, they've got to look at this and think, right, what can we do better here? You know, it's all very well having a nice brand new hotel, which apparently is brilliant. I've never been in it yet. But all I care about is the playing squad. All I care about is what happens on that park on a Thursday or a Saturday or a Sunday. That's all I care about. I don't care about the hotel. It can look as nice as it wants. If we go down, it's going to make no difference. We've got a lot of problems just now. And like I said, there's a lot of players in that squad that should not be there. They need to go. The likes of George Grant, the likes of Liam Boyce, they have to go because they're not good enough. I keep on saying that performance for me yesterday is the worst of the season by an absolute country mile. I've not seen it as bad as that for a long time. And I admire Critchley's reaction because, like I said, he could have sugarcoated it, but he didn't. He was very, very honest. He was brutally honest in what he said. And if the players have been honest with themselves, they should be raging after yesterday for that performance. Not just performance, but the level they showed. The lack of desire, the lack of attitude, the lack of intensity. When you're playing against 10 men, you have to move the ball quicker. You've got to move it side to side. We don't do that. It was so slow. It was so easy at defending us. Kilmarnock, all they did was sit back and right, come on then. See what you've got. Nothing. Graeme, what will actually happen when we go down? Will a lot of players like Penrith and Spittle leave? I don't think so, Aviation. I think they will stay. I mean, we'll have the best squad in the Championship, let's be honest. But I don't even want to think about that. But that's the sad reality of where we are. Like, the fact that we're even talking about that. I mean, they're on 3-year contracts. They're only going to leave. But it's embarrassing when you want to talk about this because we should not be in this position. We should not be in the position we're in. But we deserve to be. Like, it's not like we can say we're unlucky at the bottom of the league. You know, we've played really well in a lot of games and we've just not... In some games, we have been a bit unfortunate since Critch has come in. I think we have been improved, but we've not taken our chances. But we're bottom because we deserve to be. Same as 1920. Everyone talks about the fact that the season was finished when we should have had a chance to stay up. And I get that. But we were bottom because we deserve to be. We got relegated because we deserve to be relegated. It's the same this season. If we finish below Ross County and St Johnstone to go down, we deserve to go down. If £16.5 million wage bill we've got, and if we can't stay up, then we deserve to go down. And everybody needs to take the blame for this. And I would probably include Critchell in that as well, although I do like him. I think he comes across well. But if he can't keep that team up, then he's got to take blame as well. But right now, I don't blame him just now because it's not his squad. We need to see what he does in January in terms of trying to bring in better players. This is the whole thing with the Jamestown Analytics as well. The Jamestown Analytics is a good thing. And I'm going to go back on this as well. This thing with Tony Bloom is really good. I think anyone that's against this is not living in a real world because this is a good thing. Anyone that wants to come in and be a minority shareholder and put £10 million in, I'm all for it. Now, the Jamestown Analytics is coming in to help us in a better standard of player that we can then hopefully sell on for a profit. And I think that's a good thing. And I'm delighted for that. And hopefully it brings in better standard of quality. Now, we have not spent £1 million on a player in my lifetime. The most we spent on a player was £850,000 when we signed Mirsad Bousleja, who was terrible. He had one really good game against Dundee United, put in one really good cross, and that was it. Aberdeen have spent £1 million on Keskingham. We've not spent any of that. We've not spent any money like that on a player. And I'd love to see us break our wage budget for a top quality player, but I don't think we'll do it. You know, I think sometimes the board are too focused on what happens off the park than they are on it. And right now it's showing. Because look at the position we're in. It is embarrassing and it's shameful. And that yesterday was an absolute shocker. Honestly, I don't think I've been as raging as that all season than I was yesterday. I was furious with it. It was embarrassing what we watched. And those players should hang their heads in shame, like I said. You know, those fans that are paid to go to that game yesterday, the folk watching on telly, and they show nothing. Like, I'm not a great footballer, but I tell you what, I show a damn sight more than half of those players did yesterday. I honestly don't know why we don't spend money on players. We should. I mean, the thing is, we paid, what, £350,000 for Keogh, who was brutal. Like, some of the money we have spent on players, we've wasted it. But I'd love to see us sign like £1 million or a real top quality player that can make a difference. Like a midfielder. I look at that midfield yesterday, right? Cammy, Devlin and Boateng. I like both of them. I like Benny. But the one thing about all of them is they're all very similar. They're all defensive midfielders. There's not an attacking midfielder among them. There's nobody from that midfield that gets on the ball and drives forward. We don't have that. Now, Blair Spittle was playing out wide. So was Jan Dandy when he came on. We don't have that progressive midfielder that can break the lines and actually drive forward. That's not what Benny, Boateng and Devlin do. We need a real top-class midfielder for me. Someone that gets a foot on the ball and makes things happen. You look at like Callum McGregor at Celtic. A lot of stuff goes through him. Rio Hatate. We don't have anyone like that can control a game, that can dictate a game. We've got nobody like that. All our midfielders are defensive midfielders who can win the ball back, but then when they get the ball, they don't know what to do with it. Like Benny gets a nosebleed when he goes forward. Devlin doesn't barely shoot. And I don't yet think I've seen Boateng take a shot. You've got midfielders that don't do enough going forward. And that's another thing we need to sort out in January as well. I genuinely believe we need, in January, 2 new centre-backs, at least 1 striker, potentially 2, and 2 wide players, and a creative midfielder that can drive forward. We won't get all of that, but I think that's what we need to make this team better. And then there's at least 6 that need to go out the door. We've seen very little of Salazar yet, but then I don't mind that because James Penrith has been excellent. That's a good point, actually, Aviation. I wonder where Neuenhoff will return. That's a good point. He might be the midfielder I'm actually looking for there. Because before he got injured, he was getting forward and scoring goals. He might be the one we need. Maybe that's the guy we need. But we need to see more from everybody. You know, I thought Musa, like I said, was poor yesterday, but I don't blame him because he got no service yesterday. I don't know what we're going to do with Kenny Vargas. We gave him a new 5-year deal and he's offered absolutely nothing since he signed it. Like, genuinely nothing. Alan Forrest is a workhorse. Like, Alan Forrest is someone that I think works really hard, but he doesn't offer a lot going forward. Now, I know he's got a couple of goals for Hearts, and I'll always be thankful for that goal against Tynecastle, but he's done for me. He needs to go as well. This is what we're relying on now. Alan Forrest and Kenny Vargas is not enough. We need to do more than that. Now, I put on the tagline there, I'll go back to it. Could we really be relegated? I think it's a distinct possibility. Because, like I say, I don't see us going on a run that can keep us up. Like, the thing about teams like St Johnstone and Ross County is they know how to fight and scrap. They know how to stay up. We don't. We don't have that because we've not been in it before since 2019-20. They fight and scrap. They know how to get results. We don't. And I don't see us going on a run. And again, that's the issue I've got. I don't see where a run's coming from, like last season, that 12-game unbeaten run. Now, if we were to beat Petrol Club and then beat St Johnstone and then beat Hibs, that'll be a start. But I don't see us going on a run that's going to do that. Now, thankfully, Lawrence Shankland's back on Thursday, which will make a massive, massive difference. The suspension's over, so he'll be back on Sunday as well. But we need a lot more. Like, honestly, yesterday I was furious. That's as raging as I've been watching a game of football in my life for Hearts. So, yeah, there needs to be a big reaction on Thursday. And I think there will be. I've got no evidence for that, but I think there will be. But I think we will react. And if there's not, there's got to be questions asked to everybody again. If we can't react to that, you know, I think everybody's got to take a share of the blame. From the manager to the players to the boardroom, everyone's got to take responsibility for this. Because we're bottom of the league with a £16.5 million wage budget. Bottom of the league. Honestly, it blows my mind how bad we are this season. Because I didn't see it coming start of the season. I did not see it coming. 3 league wins in 17 games is shameful for that Hearts team. And they should be embarrassed, all of them. You know, I'd be asking, if I'm a player, I'm asking myself, right, am I doing enough? Am I working hard enough? Am I showing enough desire? If the answer to all that is yes, then you're kidding yourself. Because it's not. Nowhere near the level it should be. Nowhere near the desire it should be. Anyway, I've rambled off for about half an hour, so I'm going to head off and now get something to eat. But thank you for anyone that watched. Thank you for your comment, Aviation. Much appreciated. I'll do more of these as well. I'm going to try and do stuff for like breaking news and do more of these over the course of the season. Hopefully a bit more positive next time. But anyway, catch you folks.